What is up, everybody? This is OLB One Lucky Bullet here with a review for the Sword of Ditto, or Ditto, whatever you want to pronounce it. It's by Devolver Digital, company that's been around for a few years. They generally make sort of indie games, Hotline Miami, Dungeon Hearts, Foul Play. If anybody remembers that, back on the 360, and then they re-released it for the PS4 and the Vita. Not a bad game. I actually like that one a lot. Latrofers or the Latrocers or whatever it was called. That one was really good. It was like a shooter style kind of game. I really like that one. Ollie Ollie, if anybody remembers that skateboarding game, I hated that game. So was not a big fan of that one or the sequel. Titan Souls, really like that game a lot. That one was really good. So basically what we have with the Sword of Ditto or Ditto, whatever you want to pronounce it, it's a kind of a top-down Zelda-ish game. It plays like Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, or even the old Zeldas from the Nintendo. It's not bad. It's real colorful. Kind of gives you the Link to the Past meets Earthbound kind of vibe. You basically play as a hero that has 4 or 5 days to kill the boss, or the main bad guy, and you're tasked with basically going around kind of defeating these parts of the boss or whatever to weaken him before you get to him, or you don't have to. You can literally go to your bed, sleep, and just go right to it. The gameplay is not bad. It's pretty simplistic, but it does have some weird difficulty spikes. Like you have to be level 2 when you first start the game to go into a level 2 dungeon. Well, when you get in there, it's not really a problem until you get sort of halfway through, and then the difficulty will start ramping up, and then the boss is just insanely difficult. I don't even understand. I got my ass kicked from it right off the bat because I had no idea what I was doing. I tried to power level. Well, when you die and you come back as the next randomly generated character, the dungeon has now changed because everything's randomly generated. So you come back, the whole world's changed. Well, now when you go into that dungeon again, even though it's different, whatever, now it's a level 3 dungeon. So now you've got to go and grind to get to level 3. But when you go in there, same thing happens again. So, that's one of my biggest complaints with the game, is it's really, really not balanced very good at all. It just seems to me that, a lot of thought went into the art style and the combat of it, but there's quite a few errors in it, and you'll see later in the video. There's a quest that you do, and you're supposed to deliver dentures to a girl named Zoa. Well, I found her, and she happened to be right up near where the main boss is, his dungeon, and I don't understand what happened, but I talked to her, and I couldn't do anything. Well, finally, I looked at the map again and realized that the quest marker's telling me to go somewhere completely different. So I go over there, and some other girl named Ellie refers to herself as Zoa, and she, that's how you complete the quest. But it's like, that's pretty poor Q&A. Like, that early in the game that you didn't find that, that I'm sure I'm not the only one that found it, but a lot of people. And there's numerous other bugs, glitches. A little bit of lag, slowdown occasionally if there's too many enemies on the screen, which is really weird considering it's not a really graphically heavy game. It shouldn't be anything like that. It shouldn't be slowdown, shouldn't be, lagging out like that. The stutters and stuff. Sometimes your buttons are not as responsive as you would like them. Sometimes you're trying to roll, or you're trying to get away, and you push it and nothing, and you keep mashing it, and they'll go. Nothing that can't be fixed with an update. Even the whole Zoa name swap, this stuff can be fixed, but it's just, it's annoying because back in the day when we all bought games for the Super Nintendo, PlayStation, etc., the game was complete. That's how you review the game, that's how you base the game, and that's kind of still how I do it. I don't look at the game as what it can be, in 6 months, a year, 2 years, with updates and patches. I look at it like, generally, when you buy a game, you play it when it first comes out, and with the amount of games that are released and the amount of time that you have normally in a day to play, you'll play that game for a little bit and then you'll move on to something else, and the chances of you coming back to that game are pretty slim to none. So when I buy a game, if it's got broken parts in it, I'm going to base my score off that. That I think that's how it should be. A lot of reviewers will say, well, it's got these problems, but no, it'll get patched out, and so it's still perfect. No, it's not. What if you bought this game digitally, obviously, but then you don't have internet, or some weird circumstances happen? Well, you're stuck with that copy now because you can't update it. So that's the way it should be. This game, like I said, it's not bad. I like the game. It's pretty good. It's just got some weird quirks to it. The biggest issue with it is the dying, which they expect you to do, and then the constant restarting over again and doing literally, and I mean literally, the exact same thing over and over. That's what kills it for me right there. Is you will die, you wake up, you have to walk to the graveyard to get the sword over and over again. I don't understand why they make you do it when you're in the same damn house that the other hero was in. Same everything. Why don't they just leave the damn sword in the house then? You tell me. Also, when you die, if you've invested in any stickers or anything like that, you lose them, which the game does not tell you. So that's really annoying because you're grinding to level up before you go into a dungeon, and then you're on a time restraint because you have 4 days or 5 days to beat this boss. So you're grinding, trying to get money, trying to get stickers, trying to upgrade your weapons, but then if you die, you lose stuff. And that is really bad and really annoying, especially, like I said, when the game doesn't tell you that. When it just basically says, hey, here you go, play this game and figure it out as you go. And so it's annoying that they make you rinse and repeat to the same style as a Destiny game, where Destiny, you spend the first 10 or 15 hours going through some story, and then you get to the end and it's basically grind, rinse, repeat over and over every day. Well, this game basically just took that 10 or 15 hour story out of it and just said, hey, here's a skimpy little story, and you're going to grind, rinse and repeat, and there you go. And like I said, I'm not hating the game. I like the game. I just don't think it's that great of a game. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I think that's a pretty fair score. I wrestled with it. I was going to give it a 6 out of 10, but I figured a 7, because I did enjoy it. I did have fun with it. It's not a horrible game. It's just, it does have some issues with it that they need to fix. And then they also need to add something, if they are going to break up the monotony of just simply grinding over and over and over again, doing the same thing. And then if you get hit by one cheap enemy, and you're unable to get away or unable to roll because the buttons didn't work, and you die, you have to start it all over again. And that permadeath thing is great for some people, but some people like me don't particularly enjoy permadeath, or the rinse repeat kind of scenario. And I hate that because I feel like a lot of games are going to that nowadays. Instead of actually putting gameplay into it, we're just going to put these cheap, grinding tactics into it and let you do that. All in all, for $20, the game isn't bad. I would be skeptical on it. You'd have to be a fan of the style of game before you buy it. I would wait till it goes on sale. If you're not, if you're unsure, if you're not a huge fan of that kind of, action RPG kind of thing. But let me know what you think. Leave a comment below, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks a lot.